Hey everyone, Hybrid Toy Reviews here, wanting to take a look at these custom Star Wars The Black Series Waxer and Boyle. I just got them in a few days ago from Commander Cook. He is an amazing customizer and he has his own YouTube channel, which I am linking in the description below. I got in touch with him through the 1313 Podcast Discord, which is just a great place to hang out with Star Wars collectors, so plugging that too. But we got into a discussion one day. He's always showing off his customs in there. He does a lot of commission work for people. And so I popped into his DMs because I'd kind of been thinking about these two clones in my collection for some time. And I was like, hey, hypothetically, I want these. What can we do? We hashed it out. I got the order made, and here they are on my table. And man, they look so good. So let's go ahead and get into, it's going to be sort of like a review overview kind of thing. So let's get into it. So I know typically I would talk about figure packaging. These don't come with it. So let's talk a little bit about what was done here. These are using the knockoff clone bodies from AliExpress. That was something that we decided to do. They make a really great base for these sort of customs, and I'm just really happy with how they turned out. For a figure that you're going to put a bunch of your own paint on, why would you go and buy a figure that you have to take a bunch of paint off to then put paint on? So this is like the perfect use for those bodies. Each figure came with the standard two clone trooper blasters, being the rifle and the shorter blaster. There's a lot of jokes in the 1313 Discord. I'm regularly making jar jokes, so my blasters came in this little jar. That was the best part of opening the box, other than the actual figures. It took me a moment to get done laughing. But setting our blasters aside, now these are both spectacular, and I'm not unimpressed with either of them, but we're going to start by talking about Boyle. Because there are just certain things about Waxer that make him a little bit of a more complicated custom. So one thing I had asked for, because you're customizing, you can use any colors and anything. One of my requests was to try and get like an orange that would sort of vibe with like the Commander Cody figure. How like the Walgreens 212 clones were just kind of like yellow. I kind of wanted it to be more of an orange. And of course, you're never going to match Hasbro orange exactly, but just something in that vein. I think we hit the mark perfect here. Since then, and I would break out my Cody to share, but I have actually commissioned a custom Commander Cody from Skywalker Hendricks, who's always linked down below. You should check his Instagram and channel out. He does customs for himself, but he showed me this Cody he did where he put all the Cody parts on a new clone body and painted it, and I was like, man, I need that. So I talked him into it. I sent him my Cody and a clone to, make it into a thing. So I don't have a Cody to compare to. It's done. Just waiting for it to get here now. But I think we're going to be very, very good on oranges here. It's a very nice 2/12 orange that was picked. I'm very happy with it. Looking at him, I mean, just clean. Let me go ahead and raise my camera up. Boyle's helmet is very standard. He has the orange band with a little red arrow on his forehead. It looks very good. You got little orange details going down the earpieces. On this side, he has this little black symbol, up on his head. Not sure what the symbol is. I think it's just unique to the character, but it looks really good. When you start going down the body, it does start turning into very much your standard 212. You have a lot of just your yellowy orange, shoulder pads, and your kind of standard chest arrow going down, and the little stripes, the sections under the armpits, with your orange knee pads, and just the weathering here. Every high point has just a little bit of a black scratch, and that's nicer than any Hasbro weathering. And Hasbro weathering has been acceptable for me forever, and this has such a level of care given to it that Hasbro weathering will continue to be fine, because I understand they're never going to compare. But this just looks real. I cannot speak highly enough to the quality of the paint, and just everything is straight. There's no squiggly lines, and the weathering is immaculate and not overdone. It's just perfect, and I absolutely adore how Waxer has turned out. One thing that he changed on these a little bit, and I've heard a lot of arguments for, mostly for against, on these clone bodies, people haven't really liked how the elbow pads and the knee pads are like fixed. They seem wrong. So he actually separated these. And so the elbow pads do kind of float. I've noticed when you set them in a more natural position, the strap is even more in the way of the joint than normal. I kind of find I keep wanting it back where it would typically be anyway, and it just allows for more range. So I think Hasbro is kind of right there, and the knee joints are very much the same thing, where like if you put it where it goes, you get more range. If you kind of bring it down, I think they'd have to redesign some stuff, because like now, you know, we're really pinching in there. So like, you know, it's kind of neat that I have the opportunity to experience what it'd be like if it was different. I think I respect Hasbro's choice to leave them how they are now, but you know, it turned out really good, and all the articulation is still there. I'll do a run through on Waxer, but yeah, Boyle, just amazing. Setting him aside and bringing up Waxer. You know, Waxer, he has more unique stuff going on here. I almost feel like on the design end, like at Lucasfilm, Boyle kind of got shafted compared to what they've done with Waxer. So let's go ahead and start off with the helmet, which is really where, you know, everything is going on. And just looking at this helmet, man. I mean, Commander Cook, you nailed it. I mean, Waxer is a respectable clone. I mean, he is just running into battle with that Star Wars anime girl right on his forehead. Now, obviously, that is Numa, and it turned out really good. I mean, just absurdly good. I mean, the detail is there. I love it. I mean, that was what was going to make this hard. I've never been afraid of trying my hand at some customs. I've actually ordered some parts that I'm going to review soon, whenever they show up. You know, Boyle, I think, would have been a decent one for a novice to try, but like the Numa on the forehead just absolutely intimidated the hell out of me. And Commander Cook is the guy. I mean, he did it. You know, I mean, that is brilliant. He did all of Waxer's little red tally marks, looking really good. You got a bunch of them on either side, and then on the one shoulder pad. So, I mean, this is just brilliant. Similar story when you start working down the body. He does have a lot of just the standard 2/12 highlights for the arrow shape on the chest, under the arms, and going down, you know, your orange knee pads and around the feet. I mean, and just spectacular weathering. He doesn't really repeat the same beats. That's nice. Where, you know, like you'll buy a weathered figure from Hasbro, and it'll have like the same 3 scuff marks on every one of the billion of the figure they make. You know, it's a little heavier in some places on one figure and not as much on the other, and of course it's custom, so there's never going to be 2 exactly like each other. I really like it. It's just turned out really good. To run through some articulation, nothing has been damaged, nothing has been, you know, made unusable by the customization process. It is very much your Hasbro clone. The double barbell neck, let's look that far up, that far down, rotate, pivot. His arms can come up. I'm a little nervous with these shoulder pads, just being that they're painted. I'm going to just gently work them over the torso. He can basically T-pose, 360 at the shoulder, and butterfly joint. Single jointed elbows, which these elbow pads float a bit now, so I like to keep them up. Gives you 90 degrees in a rotation. You can 360 at the wrist, hinge in and out on this side, hinge up and down on that. Mid-torso ball joint allows him to crunch that far forward, that far back. Got some side to side and rotation. His legs can kick that far out, that far forward, that far back, upper thigh rotation. Single jointed knee can go a little past 90. And then the feet can point basically straight down, pretty far forward, and there's a forward-facing pin for rocker. allowing for some pretty decently wide stances with both feet flat on the ground. Oh, let's do some comparisons, why not? Just to give you an idea, because that's just kind of like my standard. Here is the new Black Series Stormtrooper standing at basically the same height. And filling in for Commander Cody, since I don't have an orange commander, how about Commander Bly, who also stands at basically the same height, which works for me. What do you think? We got a new spinny stand here too. Missed that lately. But, oh man, end of the day, I think I'm going to knock this down to speed. End of the day, I absolutely love these. These are just so cool. I knew I had to get Waxer and Boyle. They are clones that have spoken to me for years, you know, just ever since their first appearance in Clone Wars. And they never got the screen time I truly think they deserved. I mean, what are they at? Like 3 appearances each over the course of the entire show. And there's a long list of clones that are probably more deserving. You know, if Hasbro were to make a Waxer and Boyle before a 5s, I think some of us would riot. But I really wanted a Waxer and Boyle. I don't see them being anywhere on Hasbro's agenda for the next 10 years or longer. So I knew I'd have to get something special done here. And boy, was special done right. Thank you, Commander Cook. These are just absolutely amazing. I love them. We are going to be talking more in the future because I have a list for you. So, Commander Cook's YouTube channel, linked in the description down below. You know, I mean, I'd say I recommend these, but they're one of a kind. So, yeah, I'm a little bit partial there. I like them. They're mine, and they will be mine. And these aren't going anywhere but on the shelf in a very nice front and center space. So, anyway, I'm going to link him. Go check out his channel. Subscribe. He posts these really good tutorials just on how he does, what he does. It's like the modern-day Bob Ross video, but in action figure form. They turned out really good. I think I'm going to wrap this out by just giving you a little pan shot of each individual figure on the spinner, just to give you like a last look. And that's it for now, so thanks again. I'll catch you next time. Bye!